I was finding that my tips and my tricks, whilst they worked when I was just that little bit younger, weren't working anymore. I'm right knee deep in perimenopause at the moment. I mean, you know, as everybody knows, that's a sheer joy, and things do change. And I didn't know how to change what I was doing to get results. I think when I saw this particular program, it resonated particularly with me because it was around the changes that you can make to complement where you are, you know, in your hormonal life cycle almost. And, you know, the conversations that you and I had around hormones and endocrinology and all of that I find absolutely fascinating anyway. So I felt it was a good thing to give a go. You know, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And you were already putting a lot of focus and time into trying to see some changes, you know, and you didn't want to there wasn't a huge weight loss goal. It was just...
No, I just want to be strong. I want to be strong. I'm really, really aware of visceral fat. Diabetes runs in my family. I'm hyper aware of that. I have rheumatoid arthritis, which means that I have to be really careful about my joints, and excess weight is not good for joints. So I feel as though I just need to help myself, and I just need to strengthen. I do notice that, you know, you lose muscle fat as you get old, muscle mass even as you get older as well. And I just didn't feel as though I was getting anywhere with that, despite, you know, doing lots of working out. I felt as though I was eating all the right things or restricting myself as it transpired. So it just felt as though I was losing that benefit that I'd worked so hard for. So for me, it is all about, you know, doing as much as I possibly can to help myself later on down the line. And I feel as though I'm doing that now.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And what you just touched on, you know, when you are entering into this cyclical stage, for a lot of women, they really try the same approach as they did perhaps 20 years ago to lose weight. So that might be cutting calories or upping the exercise, and then feel very stuck because their body feels very unresponsive.
Yeah.
And actually through this period, it's about relearning how to fuel your body and relearning what you need to do through nutrition and exercise to lose weight. So have you found it like an incredible learning opportunity as well?
I have, and I found that I really, really was not fueling my body as my body needed to be fueled, and that was evidenced by the fact that my cycles started again after quite a sustained period of nothing at all. And I think that out of everything that I've learned, and you know, my coach really understands my number crunching background, so she feeds me the opportunity to do that through my eating and everything else. But out of everything I've learned, it's the fact that my cycles have started again that has really shown me how I need to nourish my body. I need to make sure that I'm not restricting myself. I can't wait for breakfast every morning, because previously that was the meal probably that I would go lightest on to make sure that I had enough to eat for the rest of the day. Whereas actually I see it now as an opportunity to really fuel myself for the day ahead. And that's the way it should be. I understand what my trigger points are around, say, maybe going on a binge after work because I'm tired, because I've had such a big gap between my lunch and my dinner of an evening that, you know, I just get to the stage where I can't think of anything else except food. So I know that I need to nourish myself properly. I need to make sure that I've got the right nutrients, but I also need to make sure that I snack, which is, you know, previously a complete no-no. The less you eat, the better, really, as far as these previous diets are concerned. And it's just not healthy. It really isn't healthy.
No.
It's not conducive to building strength either.
Exactly. And being able to work so closely with your coach to identify those trends. So, okay, I haven't fueled myself properly. Right, now I do feel super hyper food focused going into the evening, and your coach being able to show you how it all connects together, and then you start to believe in and trust into doing it differently.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're like, I actually feel in control of food. I actually have energy. Yeah. My body starting to respond as I want it to. So tell me where you are today. What do you feel are your biggest wins?
I think it's that realization around fueling myself and
Yes.
just making sure that I do that. But the other thing is acceptance as well. So something that I found quite difficult initially is probably listening to my body when my body's saying, you don't need to do that, you're knackered, you're really tired, don't, yeah. And just giving myself permission or the ability to just take it on the chin and say, well, that's okay, we'll just do it tomorrow. And that's fine, don't beat yourself up. So that's quite a big realization for me, because, you know, my personality means that I'm a planner. So if I plan to do something and it doesn't pan out like that, I will beat myself up about it. So I think actually it's just open my eyes a little bit that in the grand scheme of things, you just need to listen to your body, give yourself a break, like yourself. And yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, being intuitive with your body and knowing that rest is a key part of a successful weight loss journey, health journey, especially through the cyclical stage. You know, resting is a key component for when your body can come out of fight and flight and into rest and recovery. Definitely. And that's what we need to initiate weight loss results. So it's key to accept rest, but it's almost kind of got to be a learnt behavior, isn't it? You know,
it has. If it's not something that's ingrained already, then yes, it absolutely has. But the other thing is probably more of a focus on strength training potentially as well, rather than throwing myself around the room next door, which was what I used to do. You know, I used to exercise to be small. And that doesn't work in the time of my life now. It doesn't work, and it doesn't help me going forward. I was still seeing muscle mass reducing despite actually doing all of that hard work. So shifting that focus from lots and lots of cardio to some cardio, but probably smart cardio and a lot of strength training is really, really key. So I'm probably one of the last people in the world that I didn't have a fitness watch or anything like that prior to starting. So I had no idea how many steps I was doing every single day because, you know, I just didn't have one. So I have one. I've got a really good idea of how many steps I'm doing. I've found ways to incorporate things into my working day. I do spend a lot of time sitting down just because of what I do. To actually increase that. And as you can probably tell, I've got a standing desk as well. So that naturally increases my step count. So these are all things that can really, really help with heart health and everything else, but means that you can take the onus off that wrong type of cardio training.
Yes, definitely. Again, relearning this beautiful toolkit of what your body needs in through this cyclical stage.